Well, now, we're back live at Beechwood Studios. Michael Stanley and Denny Sanders are here. The song is largely the work of Michael Stanley. Tell us just a little bit about what went into it.
Well, actually, it was a labor of love. I mean, making music is enough fun, but when you can actually make a record like this and hopefully help a lot of people, the kick is just twofold. Also, I don't think that I'm largely responsible other than keeping people in line and making sure someone got in there and out of there at the right time. It was definitely a group effort by a tremendous amount of people.
You're being modest. I was here and I know exactly what you did. Denny Sanders joins us here too. Denny, who are some of the people on the record?
Well, as you can see by this advanced copy of the 12-inch single, Ben Orr of the C.A.R.Es, Michael Stanley, of course, and Kevin Raleigh, Jennifer Lee, Danny Powers and Bob Palander of the Michael Stanley Band, Skip Martin of the Daz Band, Mimi Hart, Joe Vitale, Ricky Metlock of Blackfoot, Donnie Iris, a host of others, as you can see on the back. And this will be out sometime shortly after July the 8th. It's shipping to national radio July the 8th, and shortly thereafter you'll be able to find a copy right here in Cleveland.
All right, and of course WMMS and Channel 3 will keep you posted. A real special vote of thanks now to everybody who took part in this beautiful project, and a special thanks to Jane Hers and Dave Hollis for a spectacular piece of video. So here now, The Eyes of the Children, something we can all be proud of.
Eyes of the Children. Just a noble effort, Dale and Michael and Denny and all others involved. You know, a lot of people are going to probably wonder, what about a video? We know we can get the record, but what about video? A lot of people kind of like what they saw. I like what I just saw.
Thank you, thank you. So much hard work. I'm afraid I did not hear your question, though, Leon. Someone else was talking.
Yeah, what about a chance of getting the video? I really liked what I saw there.
We are working on that. There's a couple of technical things that we kind of have to go through. Some of the footage that we used, we're trying to clear now, but we're working very hard, and I don't have any doubt that that video is going to be available. First of all, I want to make sure that we get one thing in, and you guys, I know, want to go along with this. This is everybody's record. Channel 3 and WMMS worked very, very hard, but this is Cleveland's song, and I think you'd have to agree with that.
Right, may I say something, Dale?
Please do.
I want to personally, on behalf of WMMS Radio, thank the 8, we hear it was even more, radio stations in the Cleveland market that went on the record and played it. We love you all, really.
And I think the most important thing, too, is to realize that, yes, it's 50% of the proceeds from this beautiful song are going to be going to the people of Ethiopia, but the other half is staying here. How many times, Leon and Doreen, have we covered stories at hunger centers, and we've seen how needy the people right here in Northeast Ohio really are? This is what's really going to be done to help them. I'm so proud of this.
I can tell. Dale's been working on this. We've been hearing about this for a long time. I also know, Dale, that you've got a report on the making of this record coming up on Friday on Cleveland Alive, right?
Yes, it's going to be a little more of an expanded version. You're going to see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. You're going to have a chance to talk to Denny and to Michael and some of the other artists involved in this thing. That comes up Friday night, and like I said, we're working on getting that video out, but right now it's finally finished, and oh my God, is it for a good cause.
It is for a very good cause, Dale. We've talked about the hunger in Africa so much, and of course the hunger in the greater Cleveland area, and a lot of people are wondering, just what can we do? We've got to be able to do something, and this shows a noble effort, and I don't want to sound too milky right here, but it is a noble, noble effort, and I'm very proud of you and all the others who are very much involved.
Thank you. All people have to do now, all they got to do is buy the record. Nothing to send in for, nothing else like that. And on July the 8th, Denny, somewhere around
Shortly thereafter.
Shortly thereafter, they'll be able to do that, and everybody, beautiful thing, will have a chance to help. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Dale, and Denny, and Michael, and everybody else.
Okay.
All right, good job, guys. We'll have more on that coming up tonight at 11, too. One of this city's proudest titles is that we are the rock and roll capital of the world.
That's right.
And Dale C.A.R.E. was involved in a project that shows that Cleveland's rock and rollers are also some of the most caring artists in the world.
Doreen, it is called the C.A.R.E. session. That's Cleveland Artists Recording for Ethiopia. And the effort and the quality of that record is really solid gold.
They all came together, the music makers of Northeast Ohio, to respond to the cries of the hungry.
How I got started was a collaboration between Dale C.A.R.E. and Channel 3 and Denny Sanders and the people at WMMS. Obviously, it was inspired by the We Are the World record, the USA for Africa. And hopefully the bottom line of the inspiration, obviously, was the cause. The fact that there are a lot of people out there starving, and if something as small as making a record can feed a lot of people, then it's something that a lot of people in this area wanted to get involved with.
And the project was born. The C.A.R.E. session, Cleveland Artists Recording for Ethiopia. But there's more than just that. Charity, you see, begins at home, and 50% of the proceeds from the sale of this record will benefit hungry people right here in Northeast Ohio.
Many portions of it are very hard hit by the change in the economy these days in America. Cleveland relying so much on the steel industry and so many other industries which have fallen on hard times. And it all boils down to the fact that the kids are the ones that suffer.
Keep the fire burning. Then repeat it again.
The song is called The Eyes of the Children, written by Michael Stanley and MSB members Bob Philander, Danny Powers, Kevin Raleigh. Also joining in, Mark Absack from the Donnie Iris Band.
When we did write the lyrics, when the title and all that, it was trying to get a grip on how they were feeling. And I remember Michael saying something about a picture with a child and eyes on a picture. And that was kind of the motif for him as far as his theme.
And Cleveland's artists felt the same emotion. They all responded with a resounding yes and gathered at the Beechwood Studios, which donated its facilities to the cause. Paul Fairweather was there. So was Mimi Hart of the Bobcats. Joe Vitale, Jennifer Lee, and Ricky Medlock came from Blackfoot. The U-Turn, Donnie Iris, The Visions, Ital, Alex Bevan, Nation of One.
I love it. I think it's wonderful. It's kind of like Cleveland taking, you know, a little stone and throwing it in the water, and the ripples of, you know, good are going to go out.
You know, music tends to get to people much quicker than going out and standing in front of picketing someplace, because, you know, you feel it in your heart first.
I think it's a good idea to help some people here at home also. I think the whole Africa thing has, you know, brought to light a lot of things that most people don't see, and it's happening around us even here.
They even came from as far away as Boston. Benny Orr of the C.A.R.E, who grew up here in Cleveland, came home to join the cause.
Kid Leo called me up. We were here in the studio. I'm working on my album right now. And he called me up and said, we're doing this thing for C.A.R.E. And he said, would you mind coming down and singing some vocal tracks on it? I said, no, I didn't mind at all.
His line, across the ocean, across the highway, tells the story best about the problems of hunger. It's not just in Ethiopia, it's right here, in our own backyard. The Ohio Hunger Task Force, an agency that deals with undernourished children, will distribute 50% of the profits of this record to needy people right here.
We're setting up an independent auditing organization which will make sure that every dime is accountable. When you launch a project like this, you have to make sure that every dime is accountable, or else people will be suspicious of something like this.
And the concerned efforts of all involved haven't gone unnoticed in this community. Mayor George Voinovich recognized the C.A.R.E. project at City Hall.
Thank you very much for what you're doing for our community and for the world. And I really appreciate the fact that you're also raising some dollars locally, because a lot of people in Cleveland don't understand that the hunger centers that we have in Cleveland really keep a lot of people going here. We have hungry people in Cleveland, and one of the problems we've got is with the federal cutbacks, we're going to have less dollars available for the hungry people in Cleveland. And so with the proceeds from this, perhaps you'll relieve some of the pressure on the Hunger Task Force, and we'll have money so we can get food for the folks that need it.
The word is C.A.R.E. What a perfect symbol for Cleveland's recording artists fighting hunger the best way they know how, with words and music.
You know, the really neat part of that whole project was to see how everybody really got together. There was no arguing, there was no bickering. Everybody just gave of their time and of themselves. There are so many people to thank. Thank you all very much. It was really an incredible thing to see and an incredible thing to be part of.
And very unusual for a group like that.
It was just really neat. Now, you've got to understand something. Part of the idea for this whole segment grew out of a letter we got from our last program. Tim Glavinsky wrote, I've got a suggestion for who to feature next time, the Michael Stanley Band. And I think we did that and then some. Thank you, Tim, for your suggestion.
And we've gotten quite a... Celebrated the release of a record and a music video based on this song, The Eyes of the Children. Now, it's the combined efforts of Cleveland's artists and singers, engineers, producers, you name it now. A project that benefits the Ethiopian Hunger Campaign as well as many of the Cleveland Hunger Centers. So, I want you to welcome three people involved, very much involved in the C.A.R.E. session. Hold up again. Cleveland rock singer Michael Stanley, WMMS disc jockey Denny Sanders, and Channel 3's anchor Dale Solly.
Thank you.
Now, Michael, tell us about this project, and then each one of you tell us how you got involved.
Well, basically, I got involved because of these two gentlemen here. They were the driving force behind the entire project, Dale and Denny, and the folks here at Channel 3 and the good folks over at WMMS. They were looking for somebody silly enough to try to put the whole thing together in the studio, and they called me up. So it was obviously set off by the We Are the World record.
Right.
And the idea being to get the artists in this area together to do something to benefit the people in the Ethiopian situation as well as those of needy folks in the northeastern Ohio area.
Denny, who are some of the Cleveland artists that got involved?
Well, not only Michael Stanley and all of the Michael Stanley Band, but Ben Orr of the C.A.R.Es, Donnie Iris, Tom and Frank Amato from Boku, so many different people, Skip Martin and Kenny Pettis of the Daz Band, our friend Alex Bevan, Paul Fairweather, the list goes on and on and on. And we've had such great cooperation on this record. It's been a joy to work on.
And how'd you get involved?
Well, pretty much it was inspired by the We Are the World record.
Right, right.
And it was an absolute knockout to hear all of those different styles and flavors of approaches coming together on the same record. I mean, aside from the charity angle, the idea of so many different people on the same song with so many different approaches was fantastic. So I felt that if Stevie Wonder and Bruce Springsteen and Bob Dylan's lawyers could all get together, we could do it in Cleveland. So we did it. And I gotta say, Michael Stanley, head and shoulders above everybody, has helped so much.
Really?
He is so much a part of Cleveland. It's a shame to say so many nice things about a guy that's still alive.
Still
you know?
alive right there. He does. He looks very lifelike. Very lifelike. Well, I'm dying to see this. Let's go to this tape and watch it right now. Ooh. Pretty powerful. That's very moving. Dale, is it in, where do we get that record? Is it in our very stores even as we speak?
It is not even as we speak, but it will be, nationally it's released, Denny, July the 8th.
Nationally released July the 8th, right.
And then within a week or two after that, we'll have it here. And the most important thing that we have to stress...
The proceeds.
The proceeds. Half of the proceeds from this record, which incidentally is being distributed nationwide, half of them go to Ethiopia, which is such a wonderful cause, but the other half stays right here in Northeast Ohio. Hunger centers right here are going to benefit. Real quick, we've had a lot of people ask about the behind-the-scenes stuff. We are so proud of this, all three of us, and WMMS and Channel 3, and of course MSB. We're going to have the expanded version tonight on Cleveland Alive at 8 o'clock.
Great.
And I want to mention, too, that that marvelous video is largely the work of Jane Hers, Dave Hollis, and Bob Nab, who spent hours and days. We locked them in an editing room. We said, you aren't eating or coming out until this thing is finished, and it was.
Clearly, it's incredible talent and feeling behind it. There was an article in the LA Times a few weeks ago. There's something like 60 or 70 Ethiopian and hunger projects, some of which have not been successful for reasons which have to do with administration to organization and everything, but you're feeling very positive about this, that this will...
Well, the whole thing about
money will get to the kids.
Yeah, and it's just a wonderful thing because we saw the opportunity for a marvelous group of creative people, a whole radio station, and a whole TV station to somehow pull together on something that isn't only artistically valid, artistically sound, but we're going to make some money for people who really need it, and that's the most important thing.
Sure is. Thank you very much. Good luck. I hope you just... hope it goes through the ceiling. Stay with us. We'll be back with Contest and Jim Neighbors and Swell Stuff. Okay.
The way you'd plan. We've got Michael Stanley and members of his band standing by right now, but we are they there? We have audio. How do you, can you guys hear us?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
You can, great. We've always been able to hear you, Steve.
Here you go. How's that for a song and dance on our end?
Good work, Steve.
Michael Stanley and Bob Palander, keyboard player for the Michael Stanley Band. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You know, your Blossom performances are actually somewhat of a summer tradition, and right now you're in the process of rehearsing for them. For that's July 9th and 10th.
Downtown warehouse, getting all set for next Tuesday and Wednesday.
It does sound like you're in a big... Is that intentional so you can play at Blossom and kind of get a better feel for the acoustics, or is it just you needed a lot of room?
I think it's basically more room. We're being real pragmatic about this. It's hard to find a 20,000-seat venue to rehearse in, so this is where we ended up. It's real nice.
Michael, what kind of projects has MSB been working on lately?
Lately, we've been finished up a thing which you may have heard about, the C.A.R.E session, which Danny Powers and Bob and myself and Kevin Raleigh were pretty much in charge of producing a record for hunger relief for both Ethiopia and for the people here in northeastern Ohio. Other than that, we've been getting ready for the Blossom shows and some touring, and also preparing some new things for a new record, which we hope to have out by the fall.
Why don't you give us some hints as to what to expect on the new record?
Oh, did you hear that?
I can't hear him.
We're having a little difficulty here, Steve.
Okay, I'll try that one again. What kinds of hints can you give us that will be on the new record?
I think he's asking about the new record.
Well,
Check your head, Steve. I can tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
There we go. This is great. Jeez, we want to take that?
Gee, I don't know. I don't think it'd be that tremendous of a departure as far as the material. We might try and rough up the sound a little bit, maybe go for more of a basic approach. But whatever it is, you know, it's going to rock and roll. It's for sure that's going to be one of the big parts of it.
Bob, while we've got you, what kinds of things are you hoping to accomplish in rehearsing for your Blossom show? No dice? Can you hear me?
No luck, Steve.
No, can't hear a thing you're saying.
Accomplish.
Well, first time we couldn't hear you, and now you can't hear us. Are we gonna? I'm also getting a 1-minute cue right now. What?
Oh.
I'm gonna go to. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're back now.
Okay. All right, I'll go back to Bob again. Bob, what can you hope to accomplish in rehearsing for a Blossom show? What things are you going to be working on?
I think what you're trying to accomplish when you're rehearsing is obviously you try and get things tight with some of the newer material down so that everyone has a grip on it, and at the same time you don't want to rehearse too much so that you still have sort of a loose feel when you go and perform live, and so it's got some energy and it's not too overproduced or over planned out, you know.
All right, what we're going to do is take a break and try and get this stuff straightened out. And when we come back, we'll also try and take some of your phone calls for the Michael Stanley Band. 578-1000. Stay with us. We will be right back. And Bob Palander from the Michael Stanley Band, and we'll take some of your phone calls now. 578-1000. Guys, can you hear me now?
It's intermittent there, Steve. We'll do what we can here.
All right. The Blossom show. Let's talk about that for a minute. What kind of surprise do you have lined up this year?
Well, we'll be doing some new material and some rearrangements of some of the old standards which we've had. Hopefully there'll be some visual excitement coming your way. Plus there'll be the first live performance of the C.A.R.E. song, which is called Eyes of the Children. And we have just about 100% attendance, I think, from the people that were involved in the record, which were about 40 of the very best singers and players in this area. So that's going to be quite a trip in itself.
Sounds great. Want to take some calls?
Sure.
All right, 578-1000 if you have a question for Michael Stanley or Bob Palander. Your question, please.
Hello, Michael. I just want to ask you what you think about your new song that is in the C.A.R.E. project. We here in Cleveland really think it's great. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't get the middle of that. What I think about the...
I think she just wants to know what you thought about the C.A.R.E. project.
Oh, doing it was one of the... was one of the neatest things I've ever been involved with. I think everybody here that was in it would agree with that. I really liked the tune, and getting 40 people together and having it work out to be something cohesive was a great musical thing, let alone the fact that it's going to go for an incredible cause, which is hopefully to have some hunger relief for people who are definitely in need of that.
It's definitely a good cause. Go ahead, your question, please.
Hi, Michael. I want to know what happened to your Stage Pass album. I can't find it in the stores anymore.
You know what? That's the truth. I heard about 2 months ago, Columbia Records, or was it Epic Records? Well, who cares? We aren't on that label anymore.
I'll sell you mine.
Dropped it from their catalog, which means the only way you can find it is somebody that still has it in the thing. Now, if you want it back, write to Epic Records, say, geez, we want to buy this record, and you should put it back in stock. And that before with an album called Lady's Choice. They cut it out of the catalog. Enough people wrote in and said, we'd like to get that, and they put it back out.
All right. Letters always help, too, you know. Go ahead, your question, please.
This is Mike from Beechwood, and I was wondering what your favorite song is and what you like to play in concert.
My favorite song that we do?
Yeah.
Would probably be Lover. Just that's my personal favorite. It's one of my favorite songs that I've written, and I really like the way we do it, and it's fun to do live. But I'm sure if you polled everyone in the band that they would, you know, probably each have a favorite. What's yours, Tom?
They're all my favorite songs. Every song we do is my favorite.
He's going to be a politician when this is all over.
What we're going to do is put up ticket information at Blossom Music Center to see the Michael Stanley Band July 9th and 10th. And if we can have that, there it is. And Michael, you and Bob will hopefully be there. Is that correct?
That's right. We
All
will
right.
both be there.
For information, 566-8184. And we're going to go back to the rehearsal hall now, hopefully. No? All right, Michael, are you still there? We're going back to the rehearsal hall. And try and get this stuff straightened out. And when we come back, we'll also try and take some of your phone calls for the Michael Stanley Band. 578-1000. Stay with us. We will be right back. Lee and Bob Palander from the Michael Stanley Band, and we'll take some of your phone calls now. 578-1000. Guys, can you hear me now?
It's intermittent there, Steve. We'll do what we can here.
All right. The Blossom Show. Let's talk about that for a minute.